Okay, I haven't really done any Mace tutorial videos in quite some time, but a few days ago someone reached out to me and asked if I would do, just put something together for the steel mace choked mill. They said they'd seen me do that technique in some of my other videos and asked if I would maybe share a little bit more about that one. So that's what I'm going to do here with this video. Bear in mind, I consider this to be more of an intermediate to advanced technique. So with my students that work with the mace, I want to see good, clean lines in their 360s, their 10-2s, their figure 8s, things like that, before I start introducing this technique, just because it's helpful to have those things in place. Like I said, it's more of an advanced technique, and so if you have sort of bad posture when you're swinging your mace, doing the choke mill is not going to really help with that, because it's just going to sort of exacerbate that problem, and you want to be able to have a good sense of that broad chest when you're doing these swings. So to kind of get into the technique, there's a lot of different ways to teach these things. Today I'm going to kind of teach this as a transition from a 360. So I'm kind of operating under the assumption that if you're watching this, you kind of already have an understanding of how to do a 360. But just to get us going here, so this is about a 15-pound gata, and I'm just going to get with my 360 here. Now with the traditional 360, our hands go directly behind our head, okay, every time. And then if I'm kind of doing a 10-2, it's the same thing, hands go behind the head. With the choked mill, one thing that's going to change is our hands are not going to be behind our head, they're going to be over the shoulder, okay? So I'm going to continuously swing to my left here, and I'm going to take my hands behind my head. But the first thing I need to do, if I'm swinging to the left, my left hand needs to be on top, okay? So I'm going to make sure that my left hand is on top, and then I can take it over the right shoulder to do the choked mill. So the reason I want that left hand on top is this is a lot less of a strain on me to have to reach. If that left hand's on the bottom, this is really kind of cramp you up a bit. You might even feel some uncomfortable tension in that elbow just because of that stretch, okay? So if you're swinging to the left, left hand on top. If you're swinging to the right, which I'll start here, swinging to the right, my right hand is already on top. So the mace goes over that left shoulder here. So if I go back and forth from 360, choked mill, 360, choked mill. Now with the choked mill, you may find it swings a lot closer to your body, okay? Right in line with your hips, shoulders, very close to the body. So depending on how good your swing is, you sort of risk, I'm sort of barely clipping my calves when I do this here. Okay. So I'm going to move to another mace just to sort of show that, just sort of the versatility of the choke mill. These types of techniques, as with many others, they translate across a variety of different tools. So that was with the gata. I can do the same swing here, okay? I'm going to use this more as a figure 8. So I'm going to swing down in front. I'm going to make sure that left hand is on top because I'm swinging to the left. I'm going to go over the right shoulder and pull through. I can get this nice, smooth action here. But notice I'm keeping the shoulders down, okay? A risk with this technique, and this is why, again, I like to see this more for intermediate levels, is someone kind of gets going like this, okay? If your shoulder's coming out, then you're missing something, right? Something's not engaged, or you're losing that engagement from your lats. So you want to be able to do this and keep everything sort of pulled down. Okay, swinging to the right, so my right hand is on top into that same movement. And these, like many other mace techniques, you can start to add some different types of movements to them once you've grown comfortable with them. But you always want to crawl before you walk, as they say. So make sure you kind of have just a standing choked mill down first before you start getting a little creative with that. Final thing to show here, again, just other tools where you can sort of do the same thing. So this is about a 15-pound club. I can still do this motion, okay? It's still, in my opinion, it's a choked mill this way. And then the last thing here, so just even with rope, so you kind of get the idea, right? That this is a pretty, sort of universal movement in some ways, in that it can be used so many different ways. If you do any kind of, activities where you're throwing a ball, throwing a punch, where you're kind of using this sling of muscles here across the front to get that rotation, right? Then this movement here, swinging a mace over that shoulder here, this is all pulling together, just as we do in a lot of those different physical activities. Hope you found that helpful. If you have questions,